Hey everyone, this is Beth, and I am bringing you guys a special energy report this week. This will be about Halloween and the upcoming holiday. I will pull cards for us to get started. So the first cards I'm going to pull are from the Dark Goddess deck because this is a very dark time of year. And I'm also going to pull from the Peace Warrior deck. So we'll start with the Dark Goddess deck. Super fun. And if you are so over all the heavy of the container this week or the energy around you, no worries. Perhaps the world will continue to be a little bit heavy, but we are going to lighten up significantly after Halloween passes and focus on family and focus on togetherness and community and getting ready for all of our gorgeous holidays coming up. So the card I'm pulling for our container is Hell. So this is the goddess of the underworld in the Norse pantheon. So she is the daughter of Loki and some kind of strange thing. I don't know Loki's stories too well, but Hell brings us, she's Ragnarok. So Hell is part of the forces that takes out the Norse gods and goddesses, the Aesir, that we know so much about because we talked about Freya last week. So Hell is about containment. This card is about containment. So let's just see, A, B, C, D, F, G, H. Let's see what this says. All right. Dark Goddess Foresight. So Hel is the hoarder, archetypal hoarder of Norse origin. Hel had authority over 9 worlds, administering board and lodging to those sent to her, including those who die of sickness or old age. So, of course, anybody who was a warrior ended up in Valhalla or Folkvang, where Freya grabbed them. She had first choice. The black and white mistress of the underworld liked to accumulate the chattels of those who were sent to her, hoarding this wealth and telling none should anyone wish to steal from her. So, her foresight for you is, there's a whole bunch of other stuff, but her foresight is, it's time for a spring or fall cleaning. Get rid of any clutter and energize your home. Open windows, let the fresh air in. Don't keep anything you don't want simply because you feel like you should, just to please others. Only you know what it is that you're hiding. Take steps to overcome anything that is not allowing you to feel free. So with the veil so thin, and we keep talking about that, and this is the end, Halloween is the end of the wheel of the year, and in Catholicism, this is celebrated as the day before All Souls Day, All Saints Day. So the veil between the underworld, Hell, and the living world is thinning, is so thin. So there's a lot of wayward spirits walking. There's a lot of energy, a lot of tumultuous energy. And it's not just wayward spirits. Our ancestors are here. There's our ascended masters are always here and available, but there's a lot of spirit energy right now. So that's alive and well. And what Hell is saying, if you are concealing anything, don't bother, because you're just, it's almost, you're making a fool of your own self. You're the only one who's getting hurt by what you're concealing. So release, let go of things, let them go, and then celebrate that celebration after Samhain, after we move through this heavy energy. So letting all these things go in this dark time of year so that we can come into November, the remaining part of Scorpio season in a very healthy and clear and clean way. And to be fair, anything that we're hiding, anything that we're holding on to that's of low vibration, we end up being in a low vibration. So especially, at a time where there are energies and spirits around us at all times, if you're in a low vibration, you're attracting and you're calling in low vibrational spirits. And if you are in a higher vibration, so if you're releasing things, you're working on non-attachment, you're working on, stepping into a higher version of yourself, you're calling in high vibrational, high frequency things. So this is where your angels are. This is where your ascended masters are. This is where your loved ones who are healthy and passed over well. And then as you go down, I'm sure you can imagine all the different things that we're dealing with. So staying in a high vibration, clearing out your energy, clearing out your physical spaces, because how we do one thing is how we do everything. So it's important to clear out your physical space so that you start to clear out your emotional space, your energetic space, getting rid of all of that stuff. So that is hell. And I'll pull a Peace Warrior deck to give us just a little bit of guidance. The pages in between. Create the story you want to read. So once you release a lot of the things that really you don't need, you don't want, the pieces of you that you are done with. And this is metal season. So jumping, the perennial in me wants to move into it, not just Hecate and hell, this Norse and Greek idea of what hell is, and then how we live it in an American Christian society, but considering the Taoists, considering that yin and yang idea, each season has its own element. So the latter part of the autumn is metal season. So metal is the shiniest, most gorgeous season. Maybe not season, but metal is the shiny gorgeousness of this world. So crystals are metal. And our metal doesn't allow us, sometimes when our metal is out of balance, we hold on to things. And what you're supposed to do in your metal is always process, always move things through you. So you receive, you process, you move it through. You receive, you process, you move it through. And when we hold on to things, it kind of gunks up the flow. That's why late autumn would be metal season, because this is the time of year where things are dying. This is the time of year that we're supposed to be moving through things, letting things go. So, this time of year, no matter what religion, philosophy, fun thing that you sell, philosophy or family traditions, anything that you're celebrating the fall is really about letting things go. And it's about moving through stuff. It's about processing things and letting things go. And that's a great reason that we do yoga or any type of body movement, because a lot of times we're holding on to things we don't even know we're holding on to. So like I said, cleaning out your house, you start to clean house, you start to clean emotional house, you start to clean energetic house, you start to clean spiritual house, you start to clean wisdom house, getting rid of all the stuff that no longer serves you, old patterns, old habits, and the pages in between. So once you get rid of things that no longer serve you, this is your opportunity to step into the life that you want to have. How can you, because life is not just about moving through the junk and processing and processing. It's a huge part of what life is, but life is also about creation. Life is about, you're processing things to create a container. That's your masculine. You're processing, you're moving through, you're holding the container, clearing out space. And then your feminine is creating, is that womb space, the mother. And we all have masculine and feminine, so we have to have both parts within us. And boy, what a gorgeous thing that does for your relationships. But if we hold both pieces within us, we can't just be clearing out and making space. We have to also create. We have to also step into our feminine. So this card is inviting you to write your own story. What is the next step? So once you get rid of, perhaps the idea that you're not worthy, perhaps the idea that you're not good enough, perhaps, you're never going to be able to make money again. You're never going to be able to buy these things again. You're never going to be able to find success like you did in this job, holding on to the glory of something you did 10 years ago. You can. Once you release those fears, you can step into this place of what life means, creating your own world and creating what's important to you. So all things in balance, we release and we create. So this is that time of year to really release. All right, awesome cards. So I want to talk a little bit about Halloween. So first of all, I want you to notice that I am in all black. And I have been in all black this whole month because I really think that the energy is crazy this month. And we've said it a million times, the veil is so thin. This is that month where the veil is what, what separates world from world. And the veil is thin. So, maybe sensing parallel lives, past lives, ancestors, spirits around us who have nothing to do with us, wayward spirits, lost spirits, and especially, even our angels and ascended masters, they're all around us. Everything's around us. So why would a witch wear black? Witches used to wear black because black is the one color that reflects all light. So, if you've ever done this in, I forget which branch of science, but white absorbs the light and black reflects the light. It almost sounds backwards, but the reason we wear black, yes, because white is, yes, that's right. So black reflects all colors. So when you're wearing a red shirt, when the light comes in, red is being reflected. That's, there's a whole study. Black is all colors. So when the light comes in, black is reflecting all these colors out. White receives all the colors. That's why it's so white. So nothing gets reflected back. And why does this matter? Because when you're wearing black and you're in a hectic and tumultuous energy, such as this Samhain season, this Halloween season, you would want to wear black because black is blocking all the energy from coming into your aura. So we have this protective aura around us. And if a yogic philosophy, there's the 5 bodies, the wisdom body, the spiritual body, all these, ideas and philosophies talk about this energetic field around us that, is a part of who we are, but we can't see with our it's not part of our physical body, so we can't see it in this earthly manifestation. But it is important to protect that part of you. It's important to always keep your energetic field healthy and balanced. So if you want to reflect the insanity, the negative energy, anything that's coming in, you can wear black and that will help you to reflect things. So just a little Halloween lore. So a little bit more about Halloween. So Halloween is actually an American tradition. It has Celtic roots. So Celtic is English, Irish, Scottish, anywhere near there, sort of an ancient, not sort of, but is an ancient religion. This is the time of the year that the dead in Celtic lore would finally be able to pass over to the afterlife. And this is also the time of year where some of us can come back. It isn't a big deal in England anymore. They do, of course, anybody, neo-paganists, anybody who still celebrates the Celtic religion, they would celebrate Samhain, but they don't have a Halloween celebration like Americans have Halloween celebrations. And also at this time of year, Celtics thought that evil spirits and demons were present. So it was important to, number one, honor your ancestors at this time, celebrate your ancestors, having your ancestors' pictures up, different ways that you can do that. A lot of us do dumb suppers where we have a place set for our dead loved ones to come and eat. That also has Celtic roots. So in addition to honoring our ancestors, so our dead loved ones, we also have to protect ourselves from anything that is evil that happens to be walking around. And what does this look like? So it used to look like dressing up as ghouls or demons yourself, so that if a ghoul or demon was like, hey, I'm going to come into this house, and they look in and they're like, oh, there's already ghouls and demons all over. We're going to pass this house over. That was one way of blocking evil spirits from coming into your house. So how do we translate that into Halloween? We dress up for trick-or-treating. So little fun fact, you want to celebrate scary costumes, personal preference. Jack-o'-lanterns. These actually came from a guy called Stingy Jack, who was an Ebenezer in his time. So there's a lot of different variations of stories, but this is one story that I thought was really cool. So first of all, jack-o'-lanterns weren't even pumpkins. Pumpkins are an American crop. So when this started in Celtic times, they didn't have pumpkins to do that. To create jack-o'-lanterns, they had turnips. So how did this come about? So this gentleman, Stingy Jack, knew that he was going to hell when he died. So there's a little Celtic, a little Christian in here. So there's a little bit of a mix, probably a blending, a perennial version of what this means. So Stingy Jack was like, I'm definitely going to hell. I'm like the most horrible person ever. So he goes to the Crossroads, which we know is Hecate's domain. So Hecate, we are celebrating her this week, and I talk a lot about Hecate in our meditation, so tune in for that. But Stingy Jack goes to the Crossroads and he summons the devil. I don't recommend this at all, ever, no matter what you believe in. I feel like this is a poor practice. But Stingy Jack goes and he says, hey, he said, why don't we play a game? Why don't we do something where you turn into a coin and I will spend you everywhere I go and will steal things from people, because once I pay them with the coin that is actually you, I'll take all their goods and then you can reappear back in my pocket and we'll just steal from everybody. And the devil was like, that sounds awesome. Like, I definitely would like to destroy all these people's lives. Let's do that. So when the devil turns into a coin, Stingy Jack is like, ha ha ha, I got you, I won, you're a coin now and you're trapped. So he thinks he's trapping the devil. And he says to the devil, I'll make a deal with you. I will allow you, because you know the devil doesn't break these crossroads agreements, right? I feel like, as you know, any agreement you make with the devil is probably not going to end up in your favor in that type of lore. And he says to the devil, fun fact, the devil didn't come up until 14th century Christianity. Isn't that interesting? However, I digress. So Stingy Jack says to the devil, I'll allow you to be free. I'll let you out of this agreement, this bargain, if you promise not to take me to hell when I die. And the devil's like, sure, no problem. Not a problem. So years later, Stingy Jack dies. And he is now a wayward soul, right? He's a wayward soul, and he's at the crossroads, which is why Hecate is so important during this season, because she's there with all these wayward souls. And so Jack goes to the crossroads and he sees the devil and he's like, hey, 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 you can't take me. You promised, you made a deal that you can't take me to hell. And the devil's like, absolutely, I'm not going to take you to hell. He said, but you certainly can't get into heaven either. He said, you were not good enough to go to heaven. He said, so he turns him, let me make sure I'm saying this right. So he puts his soul, the soul of Stingy Jack, into a turnip. And so the soul, the light, right, when your fire is in a jack-o'-lantern, into this turnip, and this is where his soul is for all of eternity. So that's a jack-o'-lantern. So that's one of the reasons why we make jack-o'-lanterns. Now there's other reasons. I think there's stories about the jack-o'-lantern being for protection. So that's pretty amazing as well. Bonfires are a cool story. So bonfires are part of a Celtic tradition. So bonfires used to be when when the Celts used to sacrifice animals, pull the entrails out of the animals, and they would read the entrails. And once they were finished reading the entrails, they would throw the whole animal, they wouldn't eat the animal, onto the fire as a sacrifice to their Celtic gods. And in the morning, once everything was burned away, all that you were left with was a pile of bones. Bonfire. So that's how we get bonfires at Halloween time. So, also fun fact, when they had these bonfires in Northern Europe, the entrails of the animals would start to attract different animals. They would attract bugs, which would attract bats, which would attract owls, and then cats as well. So bats, owls, and cats, these are the different animals that we associate with Halloween, or the Celtic holiday, holy day of Samhain. trick-or-treating. So leaving a bowl of food out for your ancestors. So I talked a little bit about this, I touched on it, but a dumb supper is when you leave a place setting of food for your dead loved ones to come and join you. So trick-or-treating is kind of the same thing, where you leave out a bowl of goods for your ancestors and to also appease any spirits that are passing by your home, so that they would just take some food and move on, take some food and move on, and then they would leave you alone. So that's a fantastic story. So there's a Japanese tradition that's very similar to that dumb supper, where they would make food. They would make a ton of food to celebrate, and it's around the same time of year. It's a different holiday, but they would make all of this food, and while the food is piping hot, it steams. And no one is allowed to touch the food while it's steaming. So they make this food really, really hot. So when it's out on like a buffet, the steam is rising. And the steam is what their ancestors would eat. This is how the ancestors would eat in the spirit world. They would come and they would eat the steam off of the food. So nobody could touch the food until there was no steam. So that's another way that this idea of honoring our ancestors during the fall, the autumn season, very similar to Halloween, Samhain. Also, El Dia de los Muertos. That is celebrated this time of year as well. This is the Day of the Dead, celebrated in Mexico, and it has a lot of ties to Spanish colonialism in Mexico. So this is a holiday where they celebrate their dead. Let's see. So what they do is they'll actually clean the graves. They decorate the graves with yellow and gold marigolds. They used to fill all the waterways with these flowers, and now they just decorate the graves because that got to be a little bit messy. They do a memorial at the grave, and then the dead follow. So by doing all of this, they're inviting the dead, they're letting the dead know where your ancestors know where you are, and then they follow you back home. And that's where they have lots of special things for them. They have sugar skulls, which are the treats for the kids. And then the ancestors will stay, El Dia de los Muertos, they stay with the family, they celebrate that energy. And then by November 2nd, which is All Souls Day and All Saints Day, All Souls Day, I think one is November 1st, one is November 2nd. But by November 2nd, note the introduction of Catholicism here. Spanish colonialists would introduce Catholic thoughts and ideals here. So by November 2nd, the souls return home, return back to heaven or wherever they're resting. So this is a little mix of ancient Aztec beliefs of celebrating and honoring your dead at this time of the year, and it's also a little bit of Catholicism, which is prevalent in Mexico. So many cool things, but we have gone over. So Anne Marie usually wraps this up in about 15 minutes. So by the way, the holiday I was speaking about in Japan is Obon, O-B-O-N, if you want to take a look at that. In China, it's Qingming. Qingming is in the spring, and Hungry Ghost Month is August through September. So Hungry Ghost Month is when ancient Chinese religions would celebrate beliefs. I won't call them, whatever religion or philosophy is. That's when they would celebrate their ancestors. And they would do this as well. And I lied earlier when I told you it was Japanese. It's actually Chinese that they have the steam coming off of the food, and the ancestors would come and eat the steam off of the food. Nope, I wasn't lying. Definitely Japanese. Definitely Japanese. So, what does this mean? This is such an amazing time of year. This is such an awesome week. Protect yourself, and you don't have to wear black. You can just call in your higher divine light, call in your God. Always staying connected to the spirit world, always staying connected to our energetic world, our energy bodies, our emotional bodies, our wisdom bodies. These are a lot of the pieces that we're always trying to bring onto the mat in this community. So it's important to celebrate yourself. It's important to let things go. This is the time of year of letting things go. So balance your metal, let things go, let things be processed and released so that you're available to start creating and you're available to celebrate your life. And So Samhain Blessings, Happy Halloween. Lots of love to you all, and I will see you guys in the next class.